Welcome back to Carrie's Corner. I am not Carrie, but I am commandeering Carrie's show because Carrie, you and I, we have a real problem.
I really don't know what the problem is yet, but do tell me.
You do know what the problem is. You're just in denial.
Okay.
The problem
Enlighten me.
is what's behind me.
A wall?
No. Rabbits.
Oh, a rabbit.
Rabbits. Carrie, there are rabbits. We might have another problem now. Carrie, for a very long time, you and I are diabolically opposed. Opposite sides of the black line when it comes to rabbits, are we not?
We are.
You have rabbits.
Yes?
I have rabbits.
You do.
How do you treat your rabbits?
Like they are some of my children.
Like they are some. They have a room of their own.
They have a room of their own
In
with
their
a
house.
padded floor.
With a padded floor.
With a padded floor.
They have freedom in this room.
Yes, they have freedom in the room.
What do I do with my rabbits?
You put them outdoors so they're cold and hungry and sad. And they cry and you don't comfort them.
Do you know, like I could preach a sermon right now on this whole thing, right? How we treat people, how we treat rabbits. I'm not going to. I'm going to scrap that part of it. But listen, Genesis. I was looking. I've been scouring the Bible, right, for hours and hours because we knew we were going to do this for minutes and long time scouring about where in the Bible does it talk about rabbits, right? I thought about Jesus saying to people, "You foolish people," right? Like, what are you doing? Why are you? Because that sounds like rabbits to me, right? But I actually looked in Genesis. I guess the part that rabbit sense makes sense is when God says, "Be fruitful and multiply." Rabbits multiply greatly.
They do.
My understanding is that if you have 2 in 3 years, you can have millions.
A lot, yes.
A lot.
And sisters.
So, Carrie, really, what I want to know, because I think we need to make this spiritual before we lose it, right? Carrie, why do you like rabbits so much?
Well, I like rabbits because they are a perfect picture of God's creation. I think how intricately God wove something together. And God does this, by the way, with not just rabbits, but everything. But in the case of rabbits, you look at them. They're perfect in every single way. They're this tiny little creature. And they're so complicated to take care of, right? Because they have a specific digestive system. They have a specific set of needs. You have to be really careful how you take care of them because they can get sick. They're fragile. They can drop over and die at any second, what sounds really bad. But you have to, they're these fragile little creatures that God gave us, and God gave me specifically to really love. And they have these little tiny button velveteen noses. They're so cute. My oldest rabbit, Coco, he knows when I'm sad. Mm-hmm. When I've been sad in the past, he'll come right up on my lap. He'll lick my face, kind of like a dog. I like how people connect to their dogs. They're your babies.
So Carrie, I think probably part of our problem here is that if we put your rabbits in a room with an electric cord that's plugged in,
that'd be a bad thing.
You would actually be warning them not to chew on it.
Well, that'd be pretty ineffective. I'd probably have to unplug it.
Unplug it. You would do something about it. But me, I would probably be cheering for fried rabbit.
You probably would.
I probably would, yes.
And folks, I know Andy well enough, and he would do this.
I would.
He would.
I would do it. Listen, Carrie, I actually, in all seriousness, I love what you just said. Right? You took God's creation, and you actually pointed out the specifics about what makes rabbits really good. You actually almost sold me on rabbits. I should have probably almost think about doing something better with my rabbits, right? But I think it's funny because you've had this love for rabbits, right? Really, truly, where did it start out with? How did you start loving rabbits?
I saw one for sale one day, and my friend was selling it. Shout out Dave Coulter. He's selling a rabbit, and I actually took him, and I just researched a whole bunch of stuff about him, and just fell in love with him.
Isn't that? I think that's so relevant to people, right? Again, that's what you said. Like, hey, listen, this is God's example. It shows us all kinds of things. There's a lot of people who probably passed by Dave Coulter's sign for rabbits for sale, right?
Probably.
Like, not interested. But you stopped, right? You took the rabbit, you're working with the rabbit, like all of a sudden you're finding and developing a love, right?
Yep.
What if we did that for people?
Oh, good point.
What if instead of just passing by people because they don't look the way we want them to look, or they don't sound the way we want them to sound, or we don't have any interest in them in any way, shape, or form, what if we actually looked at people, right, and we were like, hey, I'm going to take some time to get to know you. You're God's creation. You're part of this whole thing,
Yep.
right? And I want to get to know how God created you, because you didn't know much about rabbits before, right?
No, nothing.
So if you had just listened to me about rabbits, you would have never gotten in love with rabbits, right?
Right.
But because you decided not to listen to me, because and I was a good teacher to you, you should have probably listened to me, right? But because you didn't, you got to know rabbits, and now you have a great appreciation for them. I think one of the differences realistically between you and I and rabbits is you've gotten to know your rabbits. I have not gotten to know my rabbits. They have names, I think, right? But I do not do a lot with my rabbits. My nieces do, and they have them all named, and they know them, and they play with them, and they do all these things with them, right? But I don't, right? I know my horses. I know their names. I know all about them. This morning I was giving them hugs and kisses. It was a great thing, right? But I don't know about rabbits. But I think it's amazing because there's such relevancy to people, right? God gave us animals to take care of, and you were right. People do love their dogs. They love their cats. They love their horses. But they get to know them, right? And then there's this compassion, and there's this grace, and there's mercy. Listen, about the time that my cat and dog, right, went into my bathroom, grabbed a bunch of cotton balls and stuff, and tore them up all over my bathroom, they're going outside, right? Like, they're not staying inside. I'm not coming home and cleaning up that mess every 5 seconds. Or when they eat my boots or my shoes or my slippers, they're not going to be in my house, right? But we have great mercy for them, right? People who love them, let them go. When my horses get out, I don't go shoot them.
That's
right?
a good thing.
I put them back in, right? And I love on them, and I give them forgiveness and all of that kind of stuff. In your head, why is it so hard for us sometimes to show the same things that we do to your rabbits to people?
Well, I think people have the ability to fail us, and even though rabbits have the same, and pets in general have the same ability to make us mad and do things to upset us, I think with people, I think it's a little bit different because you expect more from people to take accountability for their actions, to answer a little bit more than a rabbit would. So I think that's harder for us to have mercy on people because when they hurt us, it's a little bit harder to forgive, and likewise to give yourself grace too.
Man, I love that. That's fantastic, right? So, listen, thanks for letting me commandeer your show.
You're welcome.
Right? We are super thankful for Carrie, for Carrie's Corner. I hope you listen. She has lots of good truth. And what she, honestly, if you get past my laughing about rabbits, she said a lot of really good things in this that are super relevant. So, continue listening to Carrie's Corner for great insight and some cute rabbits behind her.
All right. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.